So you're looking for IT or cybersecurity projects to put on your resume and help you land that first role. If you've been following along, last week we built a simple cyber lab to make that happen. This week, we're putting that lab to work with Active Directory, the backbone of user and device management in almost every company, big or small. And by the end, you'll have a project you can talk about in an interview. Stick around, I'm going to help you convert this work into bullet points for your resume. If we haven't met yet, I'm Chris Kambaya. I spent over 15 years in IT and cybersecurity, and I know exactly how hard it is to land your first role when everybody wants experience you don't have. That's why I make videos showing projects, skills, and strategies you can use to stand out and actually get hired. If that sounds like the kind of help you need, hit subscribe so you can follow along with this series and build your own job-ready portfolio, one project at a time. Before we start promoting our Windows server to a domain controller, let's answer the question, what exactly is Active Directory? Now, Active Directory, or AD, is Microsoft's directory service. It's been around since the year 2000, and it's still the backbone for managing users, computers, and resources in most organizations today. Here's what it actually does. It stores information about every user, computer, printer, and network resource in a centralized database. Authenticates users when they log in, making sure they are who they say they are. Authorizes access to resources like shared folders, applications, and printers based on permissions. Applies policies to computers and users through group policy objects or GPOs, so IT can enforce security settings automatically. Think of it like the brain of the organization's IT environment, keeping track of identity, devices, and what each one is allowed to do. And it's not just for old school on-premise networks. Even in the cloud era, services like Azure Active Directory extends these same concepts for Office 365, cloud apps, and hybrid environments. Now, why should you care? Because almost every medium to large company uses it. That means as a cybersecurity professional, you'll be interacting with AD, whether you're adding users, troubleshooting login issues, investigating a suspicious account activity, or locking down permissions to prevent breaches. Mastering AD in your lab now means when it comes up in an interview, you're not just showing you know it, you can prove you worked with it. All right, now that we know what Active Directory is and why it matters, let's actually build it in our lab. We're going to take our Windows server, promote it to a domain controller, create some users and groups, and then join our Windows PC to the domain. I recommend you record your screen and take screenshots while you do this, so you have something to reference later or use for content on your LinkedIn. All right, so we're here, we're on our virtual box. As you can see, we have our 4 virtual machines, but we only care right now about our Windows Server 2025. Before I start this up, I wanna make sure I give it internet access. So I'm gonna hit settings. We're gonna go down to network and make sure you're on expert and not basic, because basic doesn't give you a lot of information you can work with. Back on expert, you're gonna click on adapter 2. I'm gonna turn on the second adapter and I'm gonna make sure I leave that on that. And then you hit OK. Right, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure our domain controller has a appropriate name and static IP. To verify the name, we're changing the name, we're gonna go to settings, system, we're gonna go down to about, we're gonna go rename this PC. Now here you would name it to whatever you wanna name it. I name mine to DC1. Once you change the name, you hit next, and you will be prompted to restart your system. We're gonna go to our network sharing center, and we're gonna go change adapter settings. We're gonna click on our first adapter, that's for our internal network. We're gonna make sure it has a static IP under IPv4. And as you can see, it's there because we did that last week. Only difference here, now for our DNS server, I'm gonna put the IP of this device. So 192.168.1.10, and we are good to go. Now we're gonna go over to our server manager. We're gonna add the Active Directory service. So we're gonna click on add roles and features, and we're just gonna go hit next. This is a role-based or feature-based installation. We're gonna choose the current server we're on. We're gonna hit next. Now we're gonna look for Active Directory domain services. We're gonna check that right there, and it shows the different tools. And we're gonna include management tools, okay? We're gonna add features, and then we're gonna hit next. And this pretty much can just leave as default, next. And this is about Azure Active Directory. We're not gonna be using that, so just hit next. And I will hit install. So once it's finished installing, you're gonna get a notification flag over here requesting that the server manager needs to be promoted. That's finished installing. Come over here, as you can see, it says promote this server to the main controller. And we're gonna go ahead and click that. And here, we're gonna add a new forest. So we're gonna click add new forest, and we're gonna name our domain. Let's call it cyber.lab. You can call it whatever you want. Hit next. All right, so for the function level, we're gonna leave it as is, and we're going to change the directory served restore mode or DSRM password, and then we'll hit next. We'll ignore the DNS delegation options. We'll hit next. We'll leave that as is. Review. It's saying that one of my adapters, network adapter, doesn't have static IP, and that's my one that's connected to the NAT. So we could just ignore that. I'm gonna hit install. Once you're finished installing Active Directory and your system comes back up and you're logged back in, we need to add some users and create some groups. So we're going to go to Tools, Active Directory, Users, and Computers. Right, as you can see, we're on our cybertrooper.lab. And if you want to add an organizational unit, all you're going to do, you're going to come over here, click on the white space and right click. I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to create an organizational unit. And this is going to be cyber admin. That's where I'm going to put my admin users. All right, to create a user, we're going to right click in here, New, User, and this is going to be also Chris, and this is going to be Chris.admin. Next, give it a password, and bam. Right, even though I've created Chris in this cyber admin organizational unit, he doesn't have any admin rights. Like I would have to go to properties and add him to the admin group, which we'll leave for another video. Over here, as you can see, I had already created a folder called Cyber Computers. Once we add our PC to the domain, we'll add it to this organizational unit, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Before I do that, I wanna make sure I check my adapter settings on my server. And I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna right click Properties and just double check everything looks good. All right, everything looks where it needs to be. And there's the DNS server, and here's the alternate DNS server. We're gonna hit OK, and let's switch over to our PC. All right, from here, we're gonna go to settings on our PC, go to about, let's just click here where it says domain and work group. I'm gonna click change. We're gonna add this to the domain, and the domain is cybertrooper.lab. We'll hit OK. Now we're gonna use the name I created, or user rather. All right, you should get a welcome window, and we are now part of the domain. We're gonna hit OK, and it's gonna restart. Restart now. Once our PC comes back up, we're gonna click other user, and it's gonna be Chris as well, and whatever our password is. And it'll start creating my new desktop. It was probably better if I changed my name to like Chris.admin or Chris.user. That way you know what type of user is logging in and whatnot. Okay, well that's doing that. Let's look at our Active Directory server. And if we bring up the Active Directory user in computers, if you come over to computers now, you should see your laptop or PC rather in there. Now we don't want to keep it in computers. If you want to move it to your organizational unit, you're going to right click on it. You're going to hit move, and then we're going to go to cyber computers, hit OK, and then there it is. Okay, so now we have, this was a mistake I did earlier, but ignore that. There's my user, and there is our computer. That's it. You now have a working Active Directory environment in your lab. Now let's quickly recap what we did so we can turn it into solid bullet points for your resume. We promoted our Windows server to a domain controller. We created organizational units, users, and groups, and we joined our Windows PC to the domain. Now that might sound simple, but it's exactly what happens in real enterprise IT environments, and now you've done it yourself. Here are a few examples you can adapt to your own resume. Deployed and configured an Active Directory domain in a virtualized lab environment, including DNS, organizational units, and group policy objectives. Created and managed user accounts, security groups, and workstation integration in an AD domain. Configured a Windows client to join a domain and authenticate via centralized Active Directory services. Keep these clear, action-focused, and in past tense as if you've already accomplished them, because you have. And now you can talk about this in an interview, how you set up the lab and why you did it, what each step accomplished, like how group policy enforces security settings, any issues you ran into and how you solved them. That shows troubleshooting skills. Employers love to see you can back up your resume with real work. If you followed along, take a screenshot of your Active Directory setup and post it on LinkedIn. Next week, we'll use this AD environment to start applying security policies. If this video helped you out, make sure to hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on these videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.